Blue Bombers are 8-4. They have beaten every team in the CFL. They haven't lost 2 games in a row all season. The 2 best clubs at this point of the CFL season, and they are set to go here at Commonwealth. Ray McAreedy will kick it off. The Blue Bombers have Ken Haley and Matt Pierce deep to receive. Joe Caragelli at the Eskimo bench. And we are underway at Commonwealth. And the kick will bounce at the 25. Haley, a defensive back who hasn't returned kicks for a couple of years, picks it up. And has an excellent return up to the Bomber 53-yard line.
Bob, Tom Burgess did a real good job last week of spreading that football around. And I think it was real good for him to play that whole football game because it really helped his confidence level. And I think sometimes this year, it's certainly fair to say it's been shaken.
He had 3 touchdown passes last week in the Bombers' victory over Saskatchewan and did not throw an interception. That does the confidence some good. From the Bomber 54, Winnipeg with good field position, and they throw the hitch screen to Eric Streeter. Gets away from one Eskimo, but that's all he'll avoid as Braswell comes over to make the tackle. Well, it's a cool night in Edmonton. And a little bit windy, 14 Celsius, a very strong wind blowing a couple of hours ago, but it's abated. And we are told should be losing its velocity as the evening goes along. It's favoring the Bombers in this first quarter. 2nd down and 9, Winnipeg at center field. Burgess to the sideline for Streeter. He makes the catch and has a first down at the Eskimo 43-yard line.
It's what they worked on all week, Bob. Tom Burgess sometimes gets into a situation where he wants to throw down the middle of the field all the time. He gets a bit of tunnel vision. First 2 plays, both passes to the wideouts. I think you're going to see a lot more of that from the Blue Bombers tonight.
Perfectly thrown ball. Andre Francis was there and wasn't far away from taking that one the other way. The Bombers down to the Eskimo 42-yard line. Burgess looks right and throws a short pass, but it's a little bit behind the intended receiver, Rick House, and it goes incomplete. 26-year-old Tom Burgess in his 5th year in the league out of Colgate University. He's thrown for 2,500 yards, 15 touchdowns, 20 interceptions, and he wants to get that ratio on the positive side, Nick, and then he'll feel better about the season he's had.
Yeah, he's not throwing for big yards so far this year in every game, but if he's efficient, that's all that matters.
2nd and 10, Blue Bombers, Edmonton 43-yard line. Burgess dumps it off to Robert Mims. He beats 2 Eskimo tacklers and gets inside the Edmonton 35 to the 34. He'll be a yard away from a first down. Robert Mims has those very quick moves, and they paid off.
Natural turf, but I was down there. That ground is very hard. The grass on top is a little bit slick, and you may see some guys slipping tonight, but don't be fooled that it's that soft. I can see how he hurt his shoulder.
Heard a number of the players commenting on how hard it is before the game. It's 3rd and less than a yard. The Bombers will go for it, and Tom Burgess has the first down to the Edmonton 32-yard line. One thing you don't want to do against Edmonton, Nick, is get behind early, and the Bombers now have a great chance to get in front early.
Well, sure. It's, again, sustaining a bit of a drive, moving the ball into scoring position, and they're not explosive enough offensively to play catch-up with the Eskimos.
Jim Yock, pardon me, Ray Yock's son is going to play defensive halfback, it looks like, and Norman will stay at safety, and Mark Mathis will move to the corner to replace Francis. Burgess dumps it to Robert Mims, and he's across the 25, close to the Edmonton 24. Warren Hudson, not Mims, for a gain of 7.
Warren Hudson, done by Danny Bass, the Eskimos.
You see them working on Andre Francis' shoulder. Now, with Robert Mims, you forget, because of his running, that this guy is also the leading receiver on that team with 44 receptions. And more times you can get the ball in his hands, they feel the better their chances of winning are.
Definitely a shoulder problem that Francis has as the Bombers face 2nd and 3 just inside the Edmonton 25. Burgess again to Mims, and he's across the 20 and down to the 17-yard line as Tom Burgess takes what the Edmonton defense gives.
Well, that's exactly it, Bob. Again, don't force the football. He's getting the time from his offensive line. They're clearing out in front of him there so he can see down the field, no obstructing his vision. And he's just dumping the ball off to Mims over the middle. Edmonton defenders are playing a zone back there, and they're coming up and making the play.
909 rushing yards for Robert Mims coming into this game. Bombers 1st and 10, Edmonton 16-yard line. Burgess again. Mims open at the 10. Robert Mims is close to the 5 before he's thrown back by 4 Eskimos, but a short passing game working very effectively for Tom Burgess in this opening offensive drive of the game.
Well, his mandate has definitely been to take, again, what's there for you. Don't get too eager to score. That'll come as long as we can move that ball down the field. Now, Edmonton may have to change some things here because they are giving up the big play over the middle, and it doesn't look like much, but they're gaining positive yardage. They're going to have to tighten up a little bit on Mims.
Blue Bombers 1st and goal at the Eskimos 6. Burgess with time throws in the end zone. Rick House, touchdown.
Seems that the quarterback gets a rapport with a certain player, and in this instance I think both Burgess and McManus in these situations look for a guy that they would consider a clutch player. That's Rick House, 12 years in the league. He knows what patterns he's running. He's very rarely fooled, and he's got some moves in his complement or his bag of tricks that get him open.
Trevor Kennard with the convert, and the Bombers have jumped out in front. Rick House scoring his 8th touchdown of the season.
Right now, because they just moved it down the field. 1, 2, 3. It looked like almost like a practice session out there against their own defense. They did a tremendous job. And again, this is good for him. Now he feels confident when he talks to guys. Say, look, what can you do? Perry, let me know what you can do. How can we beat these guys? And it's very important for them to get on a good start, and they did.
Well, we talk about that streak that the Eskimos have, and of course a big part of that, I think, becomes psychological, Nick, when, I mean, Edmonton obviously has a good team, and that's why they win so often anywhere they play, but more specifically here at home. But when teams come in here, they come in often with slight doubts in their minds, and if Winnipeg had any of those, what they just did, scoring, certainly good tonic for them. Earl Colbert returns the kickoff by Kennard, and he's out to the Eskimo 54-yard line. Well, we talk about that 16-game win streak here at home. Joe Ferraghelli doesn't buy it one bit.
Pushed out of bounds by Rock Hill.
I thought about that many times. I don't know about the 16 in a row. I just remember the one I lost last November right on that field. It was still grass, so we didn't change it. So they like to make a big thing out of things, but I think the biggest game we had, we lost. So to me, there is no streak.
Eskimos with the ball for the first time start at their 54, just as Winnipeg did at its 54 earlier. A pass by Ham for Craig Ellis is incomplete.
I think you can anticipate Tracy Ham doing a lot of rolling out, moving around back there tonight, more so than normal. I think because it's going to help that young offensive line of his out. Todd Storm at left tackle is a rookie.
And Ham's going to go with a hurry-up offense, at least in this first series. Something about the football that bothered center Rod Tonup, so they'll bring a new ball out there. Tracy Ham with 30 touchdown passes and 18 interceptions has matched his totals for last year in both those categories. And a big blitz coming, but Ham gets away from it, and this is when he's really dangerous, and he'll throw long for Colbert, no good. Down near the Winnipeg 10, Rod Hill had good coverage, but it's when Ham gets out of contain that he can really give you headaches.
Well, that's the problem. If you're going to blitz him, the guys that are blitzing have to make the play on him, because if they don't make the play on him, he escapes. Now you're putting your defensive backs and linebackers in a precarious position, one-on-one. A lot of times they don't know where the ball is because they're looking at the receiver.
That time, Ham couldn't make it work, so the Eskimos on 3rd and 10 at their 54 will punt. Macarini kicking into what wind there is. And he gets a very good punt away. Matt Pierce at the Winnipeg 14-yard line. And Pierce is across the 15, and that's it. The Bombers have an early 7 on crutches. Randy Ambrosi, the starting right guard for Edmonton. He tore knee ligaments against Ottawa last week, and that's caused a shuffle on the Eskimo offensive line. Blue Bombers with the ball for the second time in the game. They'll start this time from their 17-yard line. And the toss goes to the left side to Robert Robert Mims, who finds a bit of a hole and gets near the 20, where he is really popped hard. Robert Mims having quite a year, his first year with the Blue Bombers.
He's a good running back, Bob, and he will be a great running back when he learns especially to use this big field in the CFL. In other words, at times he has a tendency maybe to be too eager to turn it up into the line. If he just lets that blocking develop in front of him, he could have taken that around outside maybe for more yards that time.
Andre Francis, the injured Eskimo corner, has not returned to the game as the Bombers are 2nd and 7. Burgess to Lee Hull, complete with the 39-yard line, and that's a Winnipeg first down. Tom Burgess has started every game at quarterback this year. Mims and Warren Hudson in the backfield with him. The receiving corps has Streeter and Hull at the wide spots. Hull replaces James Murphy, who's out for 3 or 4 weeks with a sprained ankle, and 5-time All-Canadian Chris Walby anchoring the offensive line.
Keyword is anchoring, Bob.
Yeah, Chris is the biggest of that group, and they are a large fivesome as Robert Mims carries on first down, and he's to the 40 for a gain of 1, and that'll be it. Dan Bass and Larry Ruck on the stop.
Well, those are the guys that are going to make the plays. Eskimos really like to send their linemen into the gaps and then have their linebackers flow to the ball carrier and make the play. Bombers can't afford to get real predictable running on first down a lot here because they're going to, I don't think they can do it on a consistent basis.
32-year-old Dan Bass still going strong. 2nd and 9 Blue Bombers at their 40-yard line. And here's a screen. Robert Mims, Larry Ruck is chasing, and he's got Robert Mims. Good play by Larry Ruck, and a flag comes down. And Ruck seems upset, so that may be face guarding.
Gain of 5 on the play for the Bombers.
Or face masking.
Flag on the play.
Major foul, face mask, Edmonton number 47, first down.
Well, Larry Ruck makes a terrific play, Nick, and then has it wiped out by a penalty. Here's the Eskimo defense, and the people up front are the strength of it. That's what everything else works off of. The linebacking core, not bad, with Bass, Braswell, and Ruck, and then it's a good secondary, too. But again, Andre Francis is hurt and out of the game. Jim York playing at halfback with Mathis moved to the corner. Tom Burgess down the right side has a man open, and he can't make the catch. Down at the Edmonton 15-yard line, that was Rick House, a former Eskimo.
That is the patented Rick House move. Joe Ferragelli told his troops all week, watch Rick House, he's going to do what we call a wheel pattern. He'll start up the field, go to the outside like he's going to take a pass on the sidelines, and then he'll break up down the field, and if he can get that defensive back to turn his hips, he figures there's no way he can keep up with me. They're going to see that again.
Well, it was there that time, but the Bombers couldn't quite connect. They're 2nd and 10 now at the Edmonton 50. Winnipeg leading 7-0, 6:52 to go in the opening quarter. Burgess to the sideline. Streeter's wide open and out of bounds at the Edmonton 33-yard line. The Bombers look very, very sharp on offense in the early going.
Well, you know that they're going to go to Eric Streeter because he's working against Mark Mathis, who's moved over to the corner. It's definitely a whole different ball game over in the corner. You're very much isolated. You're one-on-one. Mark Mathis doesn't want to make a mistake and get beat deep. He's backing off Eric Streeter. He's going to have to play him tougher. Otherwise, they're going to run that type of stuff all day.
That's Andre Francis, the injured Edmonton corner. Boy, they'll miss him. Burgess to Lee Hull. And he's to the Edmonton 25 for a gain of 9.
I think other than that one pass to House and those ones that Mims was catching, so far he's really done, that is, Burgess has done a good job of trying to work his wide receivers into their game plan.
Lee Hull, a rookie from Holy Cross. He was not going to play this week. They had a player named Willie Davis in camp that they were set to dress for this game, but Davis left town. So that enabled Lee Hull to get back into the lineup to replace James Murphy. Burgess keeps on 2nd and a yard, and he will be close to the first down near the Edmonton 24-yard line.
Mike Riley said he's got great confidence in their short yardage. They seem to be doing a good job of it. The line comes off real hard, and Burgess gets in behind those big 280-pound guards.
You know, one of the things that's impressed me about Burgess this year, Nick, is the way he has dealt with being taken out of games, and he's come out of a lot of games in situations where a lot of quarterbacks would think they shouldn't come out. but Tom has accepted it and handled it very well, and I think that's been very important to the success of this team.
It's tough for Mike Riley because one thing, when you start playing two quarterbacks, you don't want to polarize your team. In other words, keep the politics out of it. Maybe some guys want McManus to start, maybe some guys want Burgess to start. If you can avoid that and have those two guys happy, then you're okay.
Burgess sprints out and throws, and the pass is a little bit low, intended for Eric Streeter.
Great job that time by Jeff Braswell coming up to take Tom Burgess as he's rolling out.
Talk to Burgess about some of the things that he'll have to do right tonight against this good Edmonton defense.
Be decisive more than anything. Don't get hung up on reads. If it's there, it's there, and if it's not, it's not. But this defensive line is not going to give you a lot of time to sit back there and make mistakes. So just be decisive, get it done, and if it isn't there, just take off.
Well, Tom Burgess has been decisive as the Bombers lead 7-0 in our 2nd and 10 at the Edmonton 24-yard line. Burgess to Lee Hall, and he makes the catch, but he's well out of bounds with Keith Gooch on the coverage. So it'll be 3rd down for Winnipeg.
Was excellent coverage by Keith Gooch that time, and I think I've mentioned it once, and it bears mentioning again that offensive line, so to this point in the game, is doing an excellent job of keeping that pass rush off Burgess, giving him lots of time to look over what's going on out there.
Trevor Kennard has struggled in the last couple of games in the field goal area. This will be a 31-yard attempt. Bob Cameron holding, and a little bit of wind with Kennard. Good snap. Cameron gets it down, and Trevor Kennard puts it up and through. And the Winnipeg Blue Bombers have a 10-0 lead with 4:45 left first quarter. He's missed the last 2 series, and Winnipeg has scored on both. The touchdown and a field goal. They lead 10-0, and the kickoff is to Colbert at the 15-yard line. They kick it away from Henry the Gizmo Williams. Darrell Sampson makes the stop at the Edmonton 39. 4 minutes, 39 seconds left in the first quarter.
That kickoff, tackled by Darrell Sampson of the Blue Bombers.
So far, the Bombers have been pretty effective in making Tracy Ham get rid of that ball quickly. I think their thinking is that when the ball is in his hands, he's the most dangerous of the Eskimos. If we force him to get rid of the ball and give it to someone else, we'll deal with that, but get it out of Tracy Ham's hands.
Saw the big day Ham had against Ottawa last week. He has the ball now for the 2nd time tonight from the 40 of Edmonton. Bombers jumped but got back. Here's a fumble, and Tyrone Jones missed it. But another Blue Bomber recovered it, and the Eskimos have turned it over at their 34-yard line.
I don't know if you sense this, Bob, but I don't know. To me, it seems like the Eskimos are sleepwalking right now. They haven't looked sharp in this first quarter at all. They don't really seem to have the kind of spark that you expect out of them. And that pitch was right there. There was absolutely nothing wrong with that. And again, it's a lack of mental concentration. If you're not mentally prepared, then you know you're going to do some things you wish you didn't do.
Ryan Walling fumbles. Jerome Reinhart recovers, and the Bombers have the ball at the Edmonton 34. Toss to Mims left side across the 30. Puts his shoulder down and gets to the 26 for a gain of 8. We have 3 minutes 59 seconds left in the first quarter at Commonwealth Stadium. Bob Irving with Nick Pastaya. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers lead the Edmonton Eskimos 10-0. These are the 2 best teams in the CFL in terms of records. Edmonton 9-3, Winnipeg 8-4. Andre Francis is back in the game on the corner for the Eskimos, but he's coming out now in a short yardage situation as the Bombers have put extra blocking strength in. 2nd and a couple, and the toss goes to Mims deep in the backfield. He's across the 25 and close to a first down, but probably just a bit short.
Well, he was when the Eskimos are going to be very cognizant of Robert Mims trying to cut back the ball all the time. He is a cutback runner. He'll take it to the front side, then try and cut it behind the defense who's pursuing him. They did a real good job that time, I thought.
3rd down for the Blue Bombers, and just under a yard to go. Edmonton 25, and they'll go for it. Burgess keeps behind center Lyle Bauer. He needed to get to the 24-yard line. Looked like he got that far, but we'll wait until they unpile, and they will measure.
It's the same in every stadium around the country, but there's something that's really an intangible. Sometimes a team will go into a stadium and they feel that you know, if we get down or we get behind, they have a tendency maybe to give up.
The Eskimos are a very good first quarter team, and the Bombers defensively are outstanding and have been in the first quarter this year, giving up just 38 points. Burgess rolling right, throws it back to Warren Hudson in the middle, and he'll get to the Edmonton 13-yard line, close to the 12, and that's another Winnipeg first down, as the Bomber offense, which has had its ups and downs all season, is really on fire in this first quarter.
That's always an effective play against a hard rushing defensive line, is that little middle screen. You just leak the back through the middle, let them turn around, stand there, and you drop them the ball, and then it forces those defensive backs to come up and make the play.
From the Eskimo 13, the Bombers leading 10-0 and looking for more. Burgess, short drop, quick pass, complete. Lee Hull at the 5-yard line, and he's inside, close to the 3, close to another first down. Keith Gooch had the first shot at him, but missed the tackle.
Well, Keith Gooch did give him a little bit of room there, gave Lee Hull some room, but he's got to come right up on that and make that play, because anytime you can make a spin move and pick up those extra yardage, you're putting your team in a difficult position here, you know, inside the 5-yard line.
Blue Bombers first and goal at the Edmonton 3. They've taken the wide receivers out, put some extra blockers in, as Tom Burgess brings them out over the ball. A handoff to Warren Hudson, and he had some room, but it was filled in very quickly by Jeff Braswell, so it'll be second and goal.
Well, I can't necessarily say that all the Eskimos are ready to play right now, but Jeff Braswell in this first quarter has done a tremendous job. A couple times we've heard the pop-up here. He's coming up, he's meeting guys head on, and he's taking them down and doing an effective job. I mean, with all the other stuff about Jeff Braswell, you got to keep in mind, he is a good football player.
Second and goal, Bombers at the Edmonton 2. The handoff in the middle. And they didn't get there. Hudson again, but he's stopped short.
2 weeks ago, we saw the Edmonton Eskimos give a tremendous goal line stand against the BC Lions. And I think this would really be uplifting for them if they can turn back the Blue Bombers here and not get, you know, down 17-0 this early in the football game.
Danny Bass leaned in to make the stop on Warren Hudson, preventing him from getting into the end zone. Third and goal, Bombers at the Edmonton 1. And Winnipeg has a touchdown, Warren Hudson.
I guess it only makes sense to give it to the big man, much as Edmonton does with Blake Marshall. You figure Warren Hudson's going to get the ball, especially when he's doubled over, protecting the ball. And with that kind of strength, you're not really going to see the ball. All you're going to see is helmet, shoulder pads, knees, and elbows. And it's painful trying to hit a guy that big.
So a 1-yard plunge by Warren Hudson, his third touchdown of the season. A player acquired from the Argos just before the start of the year. 34-yard, 7-play drive after the Walling fumble gives the Bombers a 16-0 lead.
When Warren Hudson was playing for the Toronto Argonauts, Mike Riley, I know, used to be very upset with him all the time because he used to give the Blue Bomber defense fits, especially Greg Battle, when Greg Battle used to blitz, and Hudson usually did a pretty good job on him. And you know, how many times do you hear a coach who says, if this guy's giving us trouble, the best way to eliminate him.
Blue Bombers. Well, the fans here at Commonwealth Stadium are not used to seeing this type of thing. The Eskimos are famous for running out in front and taking charge of games early, but the shoe is very much on the other foot in this open quarter.
See Bob Molly rotating his head there and pulling back of his neck. Probably what happened was he got the old accordion shot, got a forearm in the head and knocked him back.
A convert by Trevor Kennard makes it a 17-0 in the opening quarter at Commonwealth Stadium, and the Winnipeg Blue Bombers have done the unthinkable. They have the Eskimos down 17-0. Colbert faked the reverse on the return and is up to the 36-yard line. Tom Burgess talking with the spotters upstairs on the phone. Look at the total offense. Winnipeg 146, Edmonton 0, and Burgess is 13 out of 17 for 126 yards in the first quarter.
Yeah, he looks awful cool there. I mean, you know, he could be ordering a pizza as much as talking to the coaches upstairs. Very relaxed, very calm.
36-yard line.
Saying this is an easy game. Long way to go. won't get any easier than it's been. Tracy Ham gets away from the initial Winnipeg pressure and is up to the 42-yard line, where he is knocked out of bounds, and Stan Miklos took a hard hit on the last play of the first quarter from 2-yard line. Ham a short drop, and he'll throw a deep pass, and it's no good down at the 30-yard line. Colbert had it there and was open against Les Brown, but could not make the catch, and it's been that kind of night for the
And Colbert had good position. In other words, being on the outside of the defender, he can see the ball coming. Les Brown is looking at Colbert. He doesn't know when the ball's in the air. He can just guess when he sees Colbert's hands come out to take that reception. Should have caught it.
So Ray McAreedy will punt. 3rd and 4 at the Edmonton 42-yard line. Eskimos have outscored their opponents by an average of 20 points per game at home this season. They have a long way to go to maintain that average tonight as they trail 17-0. McAreedy's punt bounces over the head of Eric Streeter, who finally gets it at the 20-yard line and brings it back to the Blue Bomber 28, 48-yard punt and a 7-yard return. We'll be at the Skydome in Toronto tomorrow night for the Hamilton Tiger Cats under new head coach David Beckman, and the Argos join us at 7:30 Eastern time.
First and 10, Bombers, the ball on their own
at 7 and 5 and chasing Winnipeg for first in the East.
You know who's got to be enjoying this right now? Bob Cameron. I mean, the guy's punted 118 times this year, and that's 26 more times than the next punter.
He hasn't punted yet tonight, has he?
Not yet.
Bomber offense from its 28. Handoff, and Mims is caught in the backfield, and he fumbles. The Eskimos, Stu Hill has it. Burgess brings him down at the 9-yard line.
Well, that might be the thing that the Eskimos need to ignite their team. And a lot of teams, I think the Blue Bombers depend on their defense to ignite them. And in this particular instance, I think the Eskimo defense is doing just that. And Stu Hill, in the words of Joe Farragelli, is playing like a man possessed this year.
Hill has 16 sacks to lead the CFL and has given the Eskimos a boost they were in desperate need of. They are first and goal at the Winnipeg 9-yard line, and they can really shift the momentum if they can take this in. And Mike Riley knows it. He went one way and the ball went the other.
That's really tough to catch a ball like that, Bob, where you're expecting it over one shoulder and you have to make an adjustment, crossing your feet over, trying to turn your body. It has a tendency to slow you down a bit. Just didn't get it together that play.
Eskimos lead the CFL in scoring. 475 points, looking for their first ones of the night. 2nd and goal from the 9. Gray throws into the end zone. Touchdown. Greg Ellis.
The fact that Craig Ellis was a good enough athlete, quick enough, intelligent enough to make the transition from being a halfback to a slot back has really opened up a new dimension for the Edmonton Eskimos. A lot of teams have tried to make ex-halfbacks into slot backs. It hasn't necessarily worked. But you see Craig Ellis work to the same side as Tracy Ham when Ham rolled out. And who else do you go to but the guy you depend on the most?
15th touchdown of the year for Ellis. The 31st touchdown. Eskimos make the Bombers pay for a mistake. A Robert Mims fumble at the Winnipeg 9. And Ham to Ellis, and the Eskimos are on the scoreboard. 17-7 Winnipeg. A minute and a half into the second quarter. Matt Pierce with the kickoff return across the 25 and up to the 32, maybe the 33 of the Blue Bombers.
Tracy Ham throws his 31st touchdown pass of the year here. To the right of your screen, you see Mike Gray, who's supposed to have contained there. It's the second time in the game he's lost contained. Enables Ham to buy that extra time. Craig Ellis sees where he's going, and he's just going to move in that same direction. They have a good rapport going. Mike just wishes he had about 6 more inches reach to pull Tracy Ham down. And Ham, again, you have to admire this guy's ability to keep cool under pressure.
Quick pass by Burgess. Rick House reaching back. Cannot make the catch. And the Bombers will be second down and 10. House played here in Edmonton, of course. And what a year Rick House is having. 632 yards coming into tonight. Nick, he had 1,000-yard seasons in 1981 and 82. Wouldn't it be something if at age 33 he did it again in 1990?
Well, he seems very much a revitalized player this year. He's really doing a good job, and they've come to depend on him.
Young Todd Storm starting on the Edmonton offensive line for the first time in his career. Burgess throws over the middle, and this is no good. A little bit behind Streeter, and he couldn't make the catch. Andre Francis with the coverage.
We've always said before that Andre Francis really is one of the best man-to-man cover guys in the league. Now, working on the outside shoulder here, he can see when when Tom Burgess releases that ball, he's harassing the receiver, puts that hand in front, but good body position enables him to do the job.
That's the first 2 and out of the game for the Blue Bombers. 3rd and 10 from their 32. Bob Cameron will punt for the first time tonight into a wind that again has decreased and is not a major factor right now. Good snap. Cameron a low kick. Bounces at the Edmonton 50. Back to Gizmo at the 37. Henry Williams will try to take it wide. He's around the corner. And Pierce knocks him out of bounds at the Edmonton 51-yard line. He is dangerous. Olsen and CFN proud to bring you the best of Canadian. 12:15 left in the second quarter. Winnipeg leading Edmonton by 10. Henry Williams with a nice kick return, and we're going to watch Todd Storm on this play as the Eskimos at their 51-yard line. The handoff to Blake Marshall. Big opening to the Bomber 46-yard line.
Todd Storm is a pretty big rookie out of Utah State. Now, Joe Faragelli said it's up to Todd Storm to go in there and do a job for us. He's been on the roster all year, but this game he's got to earn his paycheck. Keep your feet moving when you make contact with the defensive lineman, otherwise you're going to get shucked like that.
Brian Walling on the first down run, and he gets around the corner and is to the Winnipeg 40-yard line and across for a gain of 5 or 6. So the Eskimos have certainly come to life, aided by the Mims fumble that resulted in an Edmonton touchdown 2 plays later.
They're one of those teams offensively. They can beat you with a big play, or they can march the ball down the field against you. The last couple of games, they've done that late in the second half.
Second down and a couple. A draw play to Blake Marshall. And again, he drives down across the Bomber 30 into the 27-yard line.
Blake Dermott is the guy that had to really make the adjustment this week, moving from left tackle to right guard. It's a draw play. You set back, you hope to get those linebackers backing up, and you just come and fire out and let the back make his cut off your block. Good job.
Tracy Ham sprints out left, throws for Craig Ellis, but Ken Haley had the coverage and the pass a little bit overthrown. We spoke to Blake Dermott before the game and asked him about the difficulties of moving from left tackle to right guard.
Well, I suppose the biggest difference is my stance. When I'm playing left tackle, I use a left-handed stance, and I had to change at the beginning of this year. I've done it before. I played right tackle last year, and previous to that, it's on the right side. But it is different. Using a different foot as a power foot, a different hand down and taking off, and I just can't really be concerned about it. I try not to concern myself with what foot I'm going to step with. I just have to go, and because if I get into that thinking about what feet I'm going to use it, and then I'll give myself some problems.
Bovell with a big hit on Marco Sincar.
Well, that makes 5 offensive line positions that Blake Dermott's played for Joe Faragelli. Basically every position along the line. And I guess there's an old saying in the CFL, the more you can do, the more valuable you are, and it shows his versatility.
That hit by Bovell on Sincar prevented Edmonton from getting a first down. They're 3rd and 2 at the Blue Bomber 20, so Ray McAreedy will attempt a field goal. 27-yard line. McAreedy has it up and through, and so it's 17-10 now for the Blue Bombers. The CFL. Georgia Southern, still only 26 years of age, and as good as he is now, you wonder what he'll be like in 3 or 4 or 5 years from now.
We did a lot of work in the offseason with Mike Faragelli, head coach Joe Faragelli's son. one day a week, he came in and watched film with him and figured, you know, this will make me a better quarterback. Maybe I'll throw for 10 more touchdowns than I did last year, and maybe I won't have to run for as many touchdowns as I did last year, that being 1989.
Well, I think he'll throw for 10 more. He threw 30 last year, has 31 this year. Matt Pierce, all kinds of trouble with a kickoff, and is down at his 30-yard line. He's not very pleased with his work on returning the ball, and neither is Mike Riley. The first 5 times the Bombers have had the ball, you see their field position was outstanding at the 54 and Edmonton 34 and their 17. But in the last 2, they scored the first 3 times. In the last 2 possessions, they've had some trouble with a fumble and then a punt by Bob Cameron.
They need to have a good drive here now. Sorry, Bob, to get back that momentum that they seem to have lost at this moment.
Tide has turned 17-0 Winnipeg to 17-10 Edmonton, and the Bombers in need of something to get a little bit back. Burgess throws to the sideline, and making a diving catch up at the 38-yard line was Perry Tuttle, and they rule that he did come down inbounds with a ball.
Now, Perry Tuttle averages 20.8 yards every time he catches a ball, and that's the kind of stats you expect from a wide receiver. Playing him inside at slot really forces that defense to drop back off, because you've got wide receiver speed inside there. They can't press as much on defense when he's in there.
Yeah, they didn't even entertain the thoughts of moving Tuttle outside this week with James Murphy hurt. They want him inside. 2nd down and a yard. Burgess off the right side keeps, gets to the Edmonton 40, and looks like he has a first down. And Tuttle prefers playing outside at the outside receiver spot, but Mike Riley said we like what he can do inside and had no qualms about playing Lee Hull out there.
Well, there's a lot more traffic inside. You've got linebackers trying to jam you and knock you down and those types of things. But once again, Perry Tuttle's speed gives them a big threat down the middle of the field. Teams can't cheat on him when he does that.
Blake Marshall being checked by doctors at the Edmonton bench as the Bombers are second. First down, Rick House, quick pass from Burgess.
Tom Burgess,
and he has it up to the 50 and just across for close to a Blue Bomber first down.
Just short of a first down for the Bombers.
As you mentioned earlier, Bob, that Rick House is really having a tremendous year. Now, he sees that blitzing linebacker of the Eskimos, so right away, he knows if he's blitzing, nobody's there to block him. I got to expect the ball coming right now. There's lots of room underneath for that ball to travel. No linebackers in the way of the flight of the ball.
8:50 left, second quarter. Bombers second down, less than a yard at their 50-yard line. Burgess will keep behind center Lyle Bauer, and he has the Winnipeg first down. So back-to-back first downs for the Blue Bombers.
Burgess keeps the ball.
And that should settle them down after the Eskimos came back with 10 straight points.
They've done a good job of converting all those second and short so far. And once again, builds confidence, builds momentum, keeps Tracy Ham off the field.
Blue Bomber quarterbacks have been sacked the fewest times of the season in the CFL, 21 times. The offensive line has done a good job. Burgess on first down, lots of time, and he'll swing it out to Robert Mims across center field of the Edmonton 50 to the 45, and out of bounds there. 13-yard gain, another Winnipeg first down.
Burgess was the pass complete to Robert Mims. 14-yard gain for Winnipeg.
I don't know if there's a quarterback in the CFL who has more confidence in his ability than Tracy Hamnick, and all quarterbacks have that quality, but this guy just oozes it out of every pore.
On the Eskimo 44.
Bombers at the Eskimo 44-yard line. Mims comes in motion right. The handoff goes to Warren Hudson on the right side. Pardon me, that's Robert Mims carrying. It was Hudson in motion. And Mims is stopped for a yard, maybe 2.
They've done a real effective job so far anytime Winnipeg tries to run on first down. And a lot of that, the Eskimos are just reading that particular formation. If they see that formation on first down, they have a pretty good idea that Mims is going to be running the ball. They're doing a good job of controlling the gaps and stopping that.
Eskimo 44.
From the Edmonton 44, Tom Burgess directing traffic, dropping back in the pocket where he's had good time, swings it out. And Robert Mims gets it across the 40 to the Edmonton 39 for a gain of 5, but well short of the first down.
What Burgess is doing there, he's taking that look down the field, seeing if anybody's open. Now, he's not going to hang on to the ball because, as we said, that defensive line of Edmonton is tremendous with their pass rush. So he's just going to dump that ball off and try and get a one-on-one situation back versus linebacker.
7:04 left in the second quarter at Commonwealth. Bob Irving and Nick Bastaya. Winnipeg leading Edmonton 17-10. Winnipeg out to a 17-0 lead in the first quarter. Eskimos with 10 points here in the second. Bob Cameron will punt on 3rd down and 5 from the Edmonton 39. And he'll angle it to the sidelines, gets it up high. Henry Williams moves over to catch it at the 2-yard line. The Bombers thought they had him surrounded, but Williams somehow got out to the 18-yard line. The guy is absolutely dynamite. 6.5 minutes left, second quarter at Commonwealth in Edmonton. The Eskimos, after a 16-yard punt return by Henry Williams, first down at their 18-yard line. And those flags are down because Pierre Vercheval had pulled past Tracy Ham before the ball was snapped. He's the left guard of the Eskimos.
He got antsy. He wants to get out there quickly in front and provide personal protector for Tracy Ham.
Procedure, Edmonton number 54, still first down.
That is only the second penalty of this game. And we have two of the most penalized teams in the CFL playing. 1st and 15, Eskimos from their 13-yard line. Ham, he fumbles as he's hit by Tyrone Jones. The ball comes out. The Eskimos, Todd Storm recovers, but Edmonton will lose 3 yards on the play.
When you see an offensive lineman recover a fumble, sometimes he's the guilty party that got beat. You see to the left of your screen, Todd Storm slides out a little bit too far. Tyrone Jones makes the moves, come underneath like a rocket, knocks down Tracy Ham.
Well, they got the Eskimo bounce as Ty Jones broke through to sack Tracy Ham. But it'll be 2nd and long, 18 yards to go. Eskimos from their 10-yard line. And Tracy Ham thinks about taking off and now does. He's up to the 20, 12-yard gain. But the Bombers were able to contain him to the point where Edmonton will have to punt, and they'll be happy about that.
I don't know how happy Joe Caragilli will be about that. He doesn't, I guess he doesn't really change his expression much, whether you can, it's hard to tell by looking at him whether they're ahead or behind. But so far, there's definitely been some good. He's concerned, obviously, about their slow start. But that's one team that you never say is out of a ballgame.
No, they're averaging 39.6 points a game this year, the Eskimos. We'll watch Ray McAready get this kick away from our end zone camera. Ball at the Eskimo 20-yard line. McAready has a problem with it, but still has enough time to get the kick away, and it's a pretty good one. Matt Pierce at the Blue Bomber 50 to center field and to the Edmonton 53-yard line, a 7-yard return of a 41-yard punt. Tonight at halftime, Winnipeg running back Robert Mims, who has finally arrived.
All this waiting has finally paid off. You know, not giving up, it has paid off for me.
Robert Mims in the Winnipeg offense back on the field. Good field position this time at the Eskimo 53-yard line. Eskimos have done a pretty good job of stopping Mims running, but Winnipeg's passing attack has been very effective. Mims on a running play, the toss this time, and he has pretty good yardage across the 50 near the 47. Mike Walker in on the stop. He'll have 5, maybe 6 yards.
Mike Walker and Brett
Chris Walby throws a heck of a block on this play. The other thing also is that you just see Warren Hudson lining up on the line, also gets a good lead block. And what they're doing with Hudson is they don't start him from the backfield. They put him right up on the line. He's almost as big as another offensive lineman. He just knocks him back.
Great job of anticipating by Danny Bass, but Walby with a good block. As you said, 2nd and 4 Bombers from the 48. And the long pass intended for Streeter, well covered by Andre Francis. And the Bombers will have to punt.
Andre Francis is really effective in how he slows down the receiver, basically using his elbow and his shoulder, and really without making it appear that he's interfering. But that's just a very smart move by a veteran to slow down that receiver so he can't get to that ball, which is just laid up there.
Eskimo defenders, defensive backs have a reputation of playing as tight as any group in the CFL. They're all over you. 3rd down and 4. Bombers at the Eskimo 47. Bob Cameron again to punt. Henry Williams, the only man back. Good high punt by Cameron. It'll give the cover team lots of time to get down there. But can they cover the Gizmo? They do this time. He stopped at 6. The first 3 weren't so good. The next 2 were very productive. And the last time they had it, they had to kick it away. But the Bombers led 17-0 at one stage. It's now 17-10. Winnipeg, Tracy Ham and the Eskimos with 3:40 left in the first half. Start from their 10-yard line. Make it the 11. Colbert wide left. And Williams splits wide right. Ham in the pocket. Lots of time. Sprints out. Throws over the middle. And it's almost intercepted by Rod Hill. Intended for Keith Wright.
Rod Hill just does a real good job of staying with his receiver. And in this case, I don't know. That was, in my opinion, an ill-advised throw that Tracy Ham was getting antsy back there. He had plenty of time to do something. And he's really predictable, rolling out to the right. And I think that's one key that the Bombers are using to their advantage, knowing which way he comes when he scrambles.
Ham over the middle, and this ball is tipped away, intended for Craig Ellis. Reaching in to get a hand on it was linebacker Paul Randolph. Sincar was the intended receiver.
Well, once again, Tracy Ham is flirting with disaster a little bit down so deep in his own end. And you can see why teams have a tendency to get very conservative when they're in their own end. They're worried about turning it over.
But there's that confidence thing again with Ham, Nick. You say ill-advised, but he just goes out there and everything in the playbook he will use in any situation. 3rd down and 10, Eskimos from their 11-yard line. Big rush by the Bombers, and McAready just got it away. Eric Streeter with it at the Edmonton 50, and he's down at the 43. Craig Ellis telling Tracy Ham what will work the next time the Eskimos get the ball. The Blue Bombers have it now after a punt, 1st and 10 at the Edmonton 43-yard line. They fake the toss. Burgess rolls left. Pass after him. He gets the pass away and completes it to Lee Hull, but he's out of bounds, so it's an incomplete pass. But Burgess did well to get that one off and avoid the loss.
Well, he certainly did, and Tom Burgess doesn't have great arm strength. I would classify him as having an average arm, but he doesn't have the luxury here of being able to pull up and get a little more of his body behind the throw, and he does actually an excellent job just to get rid of it and avoid the sack.
2:41 left in the half. The Bombers 2nd and 10 at the 43 of Edmonton. Streeter wide right, Hull to the left. Quick pass to Rick House, and he's down to the 31 of Edmonton, and that'll be a Blue Bomber 1st down. Well, the last time the Eskimos lost here at home was October of 1988. Matt Dunnigan threw a pass to Tony Cherry that resulted in a BC Lions touchdown as the Lions beat the Eskimos 35-15. Since then, Edmonton has won 16 straight regular season games at home. They have lost 2 Western finals in that time period at Commonwealth Stadium. Burgess will take off as the field opens up for him a bit, and he's down to the 25-yard line of Edmonton for a gain of 6. 2:17 left in the half.
I think that Eric Streeter is really taking exception to some of the things that Andre Francis is trying to do with him. He's been Andre Francis, that is, has been really chucking him pretty good and trying to slow him down when he goes deep. And the two of them, this is going to continue all game. Now the hunter becomes the hunted.
2nd down and 4. Blue Bombers at the Eskimo 25-yard line. Burgess looks for Perry Tuttle, and it's broken up by Mathis. Mark Mathis breaks up that pass to Tuttle.
Well, you know, Bob, you mentioned earlier that the Eskimos cover as tightly as any group of defensive backs in the league. And a lot of that has to do with they have such great expectations of their defensive line to get to the quarterback before he really has time to look over the situation. Great pass rush breeds a lot of confidence in your defensive backs.
Trevor Kennard 1 for 1 tonight in the field goal department. Bob Cameron will put this one down at the 32-yard line of Edmonton. And Kennard puts it through, and it's a 10-point lead for the Blue Bombers, 20-10 against Saskatchewan, and it didn't hurt the Bombers as they won big over the Riders, has very quickly regained his form with 2 field goals tonight. Well, and of course, one of the big differences there is that the Bombers have controlled the ball so well. Burgess 17 out of 25. But look at that. Tracy Ham's only thrown 9 passes, Nick, and completed only 2 for 17 yards. Boy, that's a testimony to Winnipeg's offense keeping the ball away from them and to Winnipeg's defense.
It is in one sense, but then when I look at the scoreboard and I see really it's 20-10, you know, you think the Eskimos have done well really to hang in here and make the most out of their limited opportunities.
And the big one was the fumble down at the Winnipeg 9-yard line that the Eskimos put in the end zone for their only touchdown of the game. Minute 51 to go in the half. The Bombers will kick off after the field goal. Williams and Colbert are back deep. And Kennard kicks it away, or tries to kick it away from Henry Williams, but the ball goes out of bounds.
See Lyle Bauer there with his brace in his hand. Now that's a custom-made brace that he wears on the one leg, and on the other leg it's just a brace that prevents anybody from hitting the side of his knee and hurting the ligaments on the inside. You see the ice bag there. He's definitely got a problem. Now he's a quarterback of the offensive line. He calls the defenses, he calls the blocking. With him out of there, they might have a problem picking up the proper, everybody picking up the right guy.
They'll check Bauer out at halftime. He may come back in the third quarter. Kennard will kick off over again, this time from the 30. What the two deep men, Colbert and Williams, are doing is lining up together in the center of the field so that Kennard has a harder time kicking it away from Gizmo, but he bounces it down the field very nicely, and it's picked up by Williams at the 29-yard line. And Matt Pierce has the Gizmo at the 40. But if you're Mike Riley and the rest of those Bomber players, every time this man gets his hands on the ball, you got to be sweating just a little bit.
Well, you definitely hold your breath and try to tackle Henry Williams, who's short but extremely muscular. It's like trying to tackle a coiled spring. He's so powerful. He explodes up the field and really scares you half to death.
What is the definition of fear in the CFL? Gizmo. From the 40-yard line of the Eskimos, Tracy Ham, 2 out of 9 in the night, dumps it to Walling over the middle. Battle has him. Walling fumbles. It's picked up by Blake Marshall on one bounce, and Blake Marshall will score.
Well, it's interesting, as we were just talking about the lack of offensive production by the Eskimos. Good football teams always make the most of their limited opportunities, and especially this late in the first half, this has got to be demoralizing and devastating to the Blue Bombers and their defense, who played a good game up to this point. And Blake Marshall surprises me a little bit. I know he's a big guy. I didn't realize, you know, he had that kind of speed.
Well, that's a bit of a fluke, but what a big play for Edmonton. 64 yards it covered. McAreedy adds the convert, and it's a 3-point game. Winnipeg 20, Edmonton 17. And don't you know that Les Brown is telling Marshall he was maybe a bit fortunate the way that ball bounced.
Well, he is, and that's probably, without a doubt, Blake Marshall's longest run this year. And they do an excellent job. The first 2 men in there stand up the running back. The next guy in comes in and tries to strip the ball. You hope to get it. This, you certainly don't count on happening.
Blake Marshall, no stranger to scoring touchdowns. He now has 9 this season. He hasn't scored one quite like that this year or ever. Somebody at their bench said, "We didn't know you were that fast." Minute 28 left in the first half. The Eskimos have been dominated, but are only 3 points down. Matt Pierce returns the kickoff. And Pierce stopped at the Bombers' 39-yard line.
Pierce with a 20-yard return off that kickoff.
That's where the continuing maturity of a team is important. In other words, you can go in the locker room now and say, "Oh, what do we have to do to win this football game?" Well, you have to keep playing hard for 60 minutes, and you hope at the end of that time that you're up on the good side of the ledger. So regardless of what happens in this football game, you just never give up, because anything can happen.
Marshall's longest touchdown run before that 64-yarder was 38 yards.
On their own 39-yard line.
And again, you look at Mike Riley, as we did a second ago, and he has to be looking at the scoreboard and thinking 20-17. Well, that's kind of nice we're ahead, but gee, we've played better than to only be ahead by 3. Burgess attempts a pass. He's hit just as he throws by Mike Walker, and they'll rule it's an incomplete pass. But Mike Walker celebrates a big hit, as he's done so many times in his 9 years in the CFL.
Well, the first time the Bombers ran this play, they did an effective job of fooling the defense of the Eskimos. You see, Mike Walker just beats the down block upfield because he's got tremendous quickness, and it's pretty difficult to fool a veteran group like that too many times, and Burgess consequently pays the price here.
Burgess 2nd and 10. The ball at the Winnipeg 39-yard line. 1:16 to go in the half. Burgess throws down the middle, but it's too high and nearly picked off by Mark Norman. Lee Hull was open in the center of the field, but Burgess a little bit high with the pass. So 1:10 to go in the half. Mark Norman. And the Eskimos will get the ball back, and they'll have some time
3rd and 10. Bombers
to do something with it.
on the 39-yard line.
Touchdown run by Blake Marshall inspired the fans at Commonwealth. Bob Cameron to punt. Henry Williams to return. Eskimo is up to the 39-yard line, a 36-yard punt, and another heart-stopping return that only covered 4 yards, but as all of Williams' returns looked like it had the potential for much more than that. 59 seconds left in the first half. Who would have guessed that Tracy Ham would pass for 25 yards as he has to up to now, and his team would be trailing 20-17. Pocket, runs upfield and is down by David Ward.
Carrying the ball about 6 yards for the
Reggie
Eskimos.
Taylor has not been in this game tonight. Taylor, the last 2 games, bothered by a twisted knee. Brian Walling, Blake Marshall have played the whole first half in the backfield. So Taylor obviously bothered enough with that sore knee that he can't get out there. 2nd down and 3. Eskimos at their 46-yard line. Ham gets away from a couple of Bombers and can't get away from them all down at the 37-yard line with 38 seconds left in the half. Albert Williams made the stop, as he did on the previous play.
Well, they knew their mandate was to keep Tracy Ham. If he's going to run around back there, you know, try to encircle him and eventually track him down and hunt him down. The thing that they're concerned about, as we saw earlier in the game, once he breaks contain and is allowed to roam free out there, he creates an awful lot of problems, because he's one of those guys that they will take it upon himself. If a team's not doing well offensively, he'll take it upon himself to run with the football and try to create some of his own opportunities.
Bombers have taken their time out, Nick, to stop the clock with 38 seconds left. And they're talking to Rod Hill, who, of course, is their punt blocker extraordinaire, so they'll go after this ball. And if they don't block it, they should have about 30 seconds left on the clock. Still to play.
They came close last time, and I think really that Ray McAreedy, he's got to do a little bit better job of getting rid of that ball. He's kind of hanging on to it a little bit, and he might be in trouble.
Lyle Bauer heading to the Blue Bomber dressing room to have his left knee examined. McAreedy's 3rd down punt. Pretty good rush and a good kick by McAreedy. Matt Pierce misjudges it, and it goes way back to the Bomber 10-yard line. Pierce knocked out of bounds at the 17, and there is a flag on the play, a 62-yard punt and an 8-yard return by Matt Pierce.
Larry Ruck making the tackle for the Eskimos, and there's a flag on the play.
illegal block. Winnipeg number 44. First down.
So the Bombers attempts to block the punt and to have some time and good field position. Left to maybe go in and score again. Both fall short, and with 22 seconds left, they're back at their 8-yard line.
Be extremely conservative here. Perhaps take a knee down the Burgess or just run it up into the line and consider themselves, you know, in one sense, I guess, lucky that the roof didn't cave in.
Ty Jones winded his last time out. Collecting himself at the Bomber bench. Here's Tom Burgess taking the snap and kneeling with the ball. 20 seconds left now in the half. Eskimos' Danny Bass looks to the bench wondering if they want the timeout, and they will take it. Edmonton will take their timeout. Stop the clock. And that'll set up a third down after the next play with less than 20 seconds to go. So the Bombers will be able to run out the time in the first half, but by taking the timeout, at least Edmonton makes them run one more play, and you never know what can happen.
Well, Mike Riley's going to tell his guys at halftime, listen, we've been dominating this game. We've dominated the first half. Had a couple of things go wrong or bad bounces. You never know. Second half, maybe we'll get a couple bounces go our way and come out of here with a victory.
Stay with us at halftime. Robert Mims, we'll have a close-up look at him. And Neil Lumsden will talk with the new coach, the interim head coach of the Hamilton Ticats, David Beckman. Second down, Blue Bombers. 12 yards to go from their 6. Burgess takes the snap from center. Scott Reddle kneels at his 2-yard line. The clock down to 17. And now Burgess will just let that time run down. Take the snap in the first half. Will be over. And the Bombers will have a 3-point lead. But we'll be left to wonder how many more it could have been, or perhaps should have been in their minds anyway.
I think they're really going to miss Lyle Bauer in the middle of that offensive line. He really anchors that group, and as I said, kind of controls the blocking.
Robert Mims on the kickoff return, and he's across the 40 to the 41-yard line. Pastaya, if you're Joe Ferragelli in the Edmonton Eskimos, are you thanking your lucky stars to only be 3 points down at this stage?
Well, you certainly are, and you hope to do things in the second half better than you did in the first half. And on the other side of the ball with Winnipeg, you just want to, you're staying close, you're in the lead. That's probably a bonus at this point, and you just want to sustain the type of things that you did in the first half.
Tom Burgess had a strong first half, and Tracy Ham had one of the worst he will ever have. Burgess back to pass, and he fumbles the ball. It'll be picked up by Warren Hudson, who will try to pass it, and does, incomplete to Eric Streeter. Pretty heads-up play by Warren Hudson. Also a rather strange play.
To a certain extent, it is a heads-up play. The only problem is that next time Coach Riley will probably say to Warren Hudson, do me a favor, don't try and throw this pass. That all starts with Nick Benjamin really getting pushed back into Burgess, who then, when he tries to throw, can't follow through with his arm. The ball comes loose. And Warren Hudson's got too much tape on his hands to be an effective passer, I think.
He always wanted to throw a pass, and he did. And it was in the vicinity of Eric Streeter, so they called it a legal throw. Now Hudson has the ball, and he'll try to run with it, but he won't find enough room to get a first down. Stopped at the Winnipeg 46 or 47. Larry Ruck with the tacklers. So the Eskimos forced Winnipeg to kick very quickly on their first possession of the second half.
Well, I think the last 2 weeks you've seen that the BC Lions and the Ottawa Rough Riders stay close to the Edmonton Eskimos basically through to the end of the third quarter. Then Edmonton at that point seemed to pull away, take control of the game, set the tempo. Winnipeg can't let that happen, otherwise they're not going to have a chance, I don't think.
Third down and 4, Blue Bombers from their 47. Cameron the punt. High kick. Gizmo Williams at his 21. Shakes off the first tackler, but can't stop the others. Ken Haley in on the stop, and a 43-yard punt by Cameron. The Bombers have done a good job of containing Williams tonight.
Well, Bob Cameron can help his team by getting lots of height on that ball. The longer it's in the air, the more time the cover people have time to get down there and surround Gizmo. The ones that he returns always are the driving type of punts. They're long for distance, but he gets a good head of steam going before their cover guys get down there.
And you wonder if Winnipeg can possibly hold Tracy Ham in check in this half the way they did in the first half, or Blake Marshall for that matter. And he's across the 35 into the 36-yard line.
30 defense is, Winnipeg Blue Bombers employ a 30 defense is what I want to say. They're the only team in the league that does that. Now, where you attack that is straight ahead. You can't run away from it because it is a great pursuit defense. But what you do is you get your big linemen on those linebackers that they're lined up over, knock them back, run right at them.
Haven't seen Reggie Taylor tonight, bothered by a twisted knee, and we don't expect to as Walling carries around the right side. Dave Bovell, the Bombers safety, moving over to finish off the play after Randolph and Jerome Reinhart made the first contact.
Well, it's pretty evident right off the bat what they're going to try and do the second half is get some of this running game going, take some of that pressure off. Bombers have had a lot of success at changing up their defenses, sending different guys on the blitz, creating some confusion in that offensive line.
2nd and 5, Eskimos from their 41-yard line. Ham throws the out and completes it up to the 50, the 52-yard line. Here's a fumble, and the Bombers' Ken Haley picks it up. And Winnipeg gets the first turnover of the second half and the third one of the game.
Bob, I've always liked Ken Haley as a football player. He's about 5'10", maybe 170 pounds. I think sometimes closer to 160 pounds. But he's one of those guys that, you know, when early on in his career, he could play every game. Maybe he can't now. He's a little bit older. The body doesn't take the lumps as well. But when he's in there, he's been doing an effective job, and he's kept Ken Petway essentially on the bench.
8th year Blue Bomber Ken Haley. Bombers from the Eskimo 44. The pass is complete to Rick House inside the 40, and he's able to creep ahead close to the 38-yard line. Haley, an All-Canadian, 3 out of 4 years, 84, 85, and 87. The last 2 years, he and Petway have split time, with Petway getting most of it.
Pound for pound, he's about as hard a hitter as they have on that team. And I think because he has a kind of fragile body, his hard hitting really gets him in trouble sometimes. It's difficult for him, game after game, to be ready. He gets beat up over the course of a season.
You say close to 170. He's actually closer to 160 pounds. Bombers 2nd down and 5 at the Edmonton 39. Burgess away from some of the rush, throws long for Tuttle, and he can't get it down at the 5-yard line.
Terrific job that time by Stu Hill. Again, he's been double-teamed a lot tonight because they're trying to keep him from getting upfield. He really fights through 2 blockers that time and harasses Burgess enough.
3rd and 5.
Makes him throw off balance and, you know, not a lot of spunk on the ball.
Well, the wind has gone down a little bit since the start of the game, but it's still somewhat brisk. It kind of swirls around here at Commonwealth a bit. We think it favors the Bombers if it favors any team in this third quarter, but Winnipeg will not try a 46-yard field goal. Bob Cameron will punt instead on 3rd down and 5. Low kick to the 10, and it bounces to Gizmo at the 1. Henry Williams is around the corner. Knocked out of bounds by Croonan at the Edmonton 40-yard line. A 39-yard run by the Gizmo. 4 minutes, 11 seconds into the second half. His dad, Ray, coached both these teams, Edmonton and Winnipeg.
And Ray Yock, when he did coach, always stressed good special teams play. You see that one block that Yock throws there enables Henry Williams to turn the corner, break the contain. How many times do you see when he gets tackled, guys are shoestring tackling him just because of that tremendous speed he has?
Blue Bomber general manager Cal Murphy looking on as Tracy Ham hands off to Walling, and he falls and will lose 7 yards. Tyrone Jones makes the pin. That return by Williams, that's called getting positive yardage out of your special teams. Cameron kicked at 38 yards, and Williams returned at 39.
And he doesn't concede anything. You saw last week where he, you know, took a missed field goal back for a touchdown. Well, of course, it was annulled by a penalty. But you would think normally he would just take a knee and say, "I'll give you a point," but he won't do that. He feels he can return every one.
2nd and 16, and Tracy Ham is sacked by Paul Randolph back at the 26 of Edmonton. So back-to-back losses for the Eskimos, and the Winnipeg defense comes up big, as they have so many times this year.
But Joe Farragelli was concerned whether or not his backs can handle those blitzing linebackers of the Blue Bombers. And again, that's a momentum breaker right there.
Third down, 24. Eskimos ball on their own
McAready will punt. The Bomber defense has allowed the opposition 20 points or fewer 7 times this season. And with the scoring in the CFL today, that's an impressive statistic. McAready on third down and 24. Pretty good rush by the Bombers, but he gets it away. Caught by Streeter at the 43, and he's down at the 45-yard line. Marshall in on the tackle, a 42-yard punt by McAready.
Stopped by Mark Norman of the Eskimos.
Mark Norman also downfield, and quite a discrepancy between these two teams, Nick, in their kick return games. The Eskimos with Gizmo, explosive and threatening on every kick return. The Bombers don't really have anybody who scares you.
No, they don't, and they've struggled with that, and Mike Riley's still searching for that one person that can give him instant field position.
Bombers from their 45, we're 5 minutes and a little bit into the second half, and they spring a pretty good opening up the middle for Warren Hudson, who gets 8 yards up to the 53.
On first down, the Eskimos are keying Robert Mims so much that's not a bad move to give it to the other guy to run.
Chris Johnstone, one of the talented Canadian fullbacks in the Eskimos, being attended to at the Edmonton bench. Second down and 2, Blue Bombers from their 53. Put the extra blockers in, take the wide receivers out, and hand off to Robert Mims, and he's stopped in the backfield by Jeff Braswell, who wants to tell everybody about it.
Well, once again, he hopes that his enthusiasm is infectious, and as we said earlier, when the Eskimos really didn't seem to be doing too much, he was one guy that was out there really doing an excellent job of hitting. And what he does is Nick Benjamin's supposed to block him, but he fools Nick Benjamin by going underneath his block, getting upfield real quick before Benjamin can react, and making a tremendous play and putting the Bombers in a punting position.
So the two defenses take turns excelling. That was a 2-yard loss. That'll leave the Bombers 3rd and 4. At their 51, high snap from Rettel. Cameron fakes the punt. Now he's going to throw, loops it downfield, and it's knocked down. You're watching Molson Canadian Football Network. Taking over on downs at the Winnipeg 51-yard line after punter Bob Cameron threw an incomplete pass. Ham gets away from 3 Bombers and is inside the 50 to the 47-yard line. Greg Battle finally made the stop.
I certainly don't think that was a set play by the Blue Bomber special teams that time, because of the high snap, he has to hesitate, and you see there's one man unaccounted for. Cameron's lucky to keep his balance. Now, he could have punted here. I guess he's thinking back to his college days when he was a quarterback. But there's no element of surprise left there. You need the element of surprise to make that type of thing work.
I don't know, Nick. It looked to me like he brought it down to throw it as soon as he got it. We'll have to talk to them after and find out for sure. Tracy Ham to a diving Keith Wright at the Winnipeg 32-yard line. And with the pocket collapsing, Ham does a great job of getting the ball downfield for a first down.
But you've talked about supreme confidence, and once again, he's maturing as a veteran because he'll bail out of there when he feels he needs more time, but he's also mature enough, a good enough quarterback that he'll stand in the pocket, take the hit, take the punishment to get what he wants downfield.
From the Bomber 31, Tracy Ham and the Eskimos. 1st and 10. Ham is hit from the blind side. The ball is loose. Albert Williams has it, and he will score.
Well, I guess we talked about turnabout is really fair play, and as Mike Riley might have said to his troops at halftime, we had a couple of those bounces go against us. Maybe this half we'll get a couple go our way. Happens right there.
65 yards. Albert Williams, after Tyrone Jones forced the fumble by Ham.
Well, what happened is that Tyrone comes clean. Back that was supposed to block him released up the middle of the field to try to get in the pattern. Tyrone comes with he's a big load when he comes. He'll really rock you. And once again, you get the bounce going your way. Good things happen.
So Trevor Kennard attempts the convert, which he makes. And it's now 27-17. The Blue Bombers are back in front by 10, as they were a couple of times in the first half. 6:34 left in the third quarter. Winnipeg has just scored on a 70-yard Albert Williams touchdown run after a Tracy Ham fumble. And Darrell Colbert will return the kickoff to the Edmonton 31-yard line. Michael Allen made the start.
Well, that thing that you see on Chris Johnstone's ankle is a pressure cast, which they use. They pump it up with air. The idea the pressure keeps the swelling down. It'll be less stiff and less painful tomorrow. If they want him back next week, they have to get that ankle healthy immediately. They don't have the luxury of resting guys.
We're at Commonwealth Stadium in Edmonton with just under 6.5 minutes left in the third quarter. Winnipeg Blue Bombers lead the Edmonton Eskimos 27-17 in a battle of the two top teams in the CFL. Edmonton 9-3, Winnipeg 8-4 coming into this game. Tracy Ham completes on first down to Craig Ellis for a gain of 8 yards. And there's Tyrone Jones, the man who forced the fumble.
Well, what the Eskimos are doing is they're sliding to the wide side of the field. Tyrone always comes from the short side of the field. The running back has to pick him up most of the time. I know it's not a fun job, but you got to do it, otherwise bad things happen.
And we saw the Edmonton offensive coaches at their bench frantically trying to determine what went wrong on that play where Jones came clean, ensuring that it doesn't happen again. Second down and a couple. Eskimos at their 39-yard line. And off to Blake Marshall, and the Bombers have not been able to stop him all night. And in that time either. He gains 7 and has an Edmonton first down.
Well, once again, Greg Battle and Paul Randolph, those linebackers in the middle of the Winnipeg defense, they're about 225 pounds each. We got a guy like Pierre Berchevaux, Blake Dermott, they're 275. They're giving away 50 pounds. So you just got to run straight at these guys and engulf them and let the back make his cut.
Running game has been successful for the Eskimos. The passing game has struggled. First and 10, Edmonton from its 45, and Tracy Ham wants to put it up and will. And it'll be intercepted at the 37-yard line by Les Brown. Les Brown to the 30, the 25, turns it inside and is all the way down to the 5-yard line.
Tracy Ham's pass intercepted by Les Brown.
Well, the Blue Bombers are being very opportunistic right now. There's no doubt about that. They lead the league in takeaway giveaway ratio with a plus 24. Means they've taken the ball away 24 more times than they've given it up. Tracy Ham, half roll to the right, has got all kinds of time to throw this pass. The ball just gets away from him. Les Brown sitting in that zone defense right there.
Well, a penalty is going to wipe out a lot of the return by Les Brown, who makes his 12th interception of the season. That leads the CFL and is one short of the Winnipeg club record of 13 set by Roy Bennett in 1987. Bombers have now intercepted 39 passes this year. The CFL record is 46.
Illegal block. Winnipeg number 77. First down.
Mikowas called for the illegal block. A record of interceptions in a season, 46 set by Hamilton in 1985, and Les Brown was a member of that unit. 4 Edmonton turnovers, 2 for Winnipeg Bombers at the Eskimo 50. The toss to Mims, and he's stopped for a loss.
Larry Ruck is one of those. So you see him in a little bit of an altercation there. He's one of those unsung type of guys you hear about. Steady, consistent, week after week, plays well, does his job. Doesn't really get the notoriety of a Jeff Braswell or the publicity that a Danny Bass gets. But they're very happy with his production. In 7 years, he played for the Saskatoon Hilltops. He was a Western Division All-Star last year, and I know he felt good about that.
Put that camera over here, man. You don't know me. No?
Brown didn't think he was on. He missed his chance. Second down for the Blue Bombers. 14 yards to go. Burgess down the sideline, complete to Streeter at the 40 as the Edmonton defender Francis slipped on the play, and Ruck has to come back and make the tackle on Streeter. But there is a penalty back at the line of scrimmage, and it's holding against the Blue Bombers.
Holding. Winnipeg number 59. Repeat second down.
Who better to ask about the strengths of Edmonton's linebacking core than the best of the bunch, Danny Bass.
Well, I think it's everything. You look at Braz. Braz likes to fly around the field. He makes a lot of things happen. He distracts a lot of people with the way he plays. Larry Ruck is probably one of the most consistent linebackers there is, and he doesn't get a lot of credit that he probably should get more. But he's always there, and I like that because the fact is, when they do certain things, I know Larry's always going to be there. So if you want to take a chance and try and make a big play, whatever, he's going to be there to cover it up. And myself, I just go out and try and do the best I can, and hopefully make some plays.
Mark Lantis making the tackle for the Eskimos.
Danny Bass makes the stop on that play.
Well, he certainly does, and he's one of those linebackers that you just enjoy watching because he never really seems to be out of position. He's a veteran player, but he's smart. He calls the defenses for the Eskimos and always seems to be where he needs to be, and that instills a lot of confidence in the people around him.
So the Bombers, even though they gained 13 yards on that last pass to Hudson, are 3rd down and 11, penalties hurting them. After the turnover, the interception by Les Brown, 3rd down and 11 from there for the Edmonton 51, and Cameron punts to Gizmo Williams at the 16. He doesn't need much room. There's a flag down as Williams fights back up to the Edmonton 30-yard line. With the score, Winnipeg 27 and Edmonton 17. Let's pause 10 seconds. 2 minutes 55 seconds left in the 3rd quarter. Winnipeg ahead by 10. And the Eskimos called for holding on that return by Williams, so they're moved back to their 10-yard line.
Well, it was the Edmonton Eskimos that came into Winnipeg and ended their streak. If you remember that they had going. So maybe if this continues this way, turnabout it once again is fair play.
Bombers had won 16 in a row at home a few years ago, and Edmonton put an end to that, Nick, as you say. Winnipeg trying to stop a 16-game home regular season. Edmonton win streak tonight as Blake Marshall runs for a few more yards. 5 to the 16 of Edmonton.
They're definitely having success probing the middle of that Winnipeg defense. Once again, when you run laterally, it's pretty tough to beat a 3-4 defense because those linebackers pursue so well. The idea is run straight at them and see what you can get that way.
Call it 2nd down and 4. Eskimos. Tracy Ham wants to throw it and does, but low and behind the intended receiver, who was Darryl Colbert. And some of the fans at Commonwealth didn't like that play very much as the Edmonton offense quickly comes off the field.
It's very much a timing thing, Bob. That's what they call a hot pattern, when the quarterback just takes a step back, throws the ball immediately, and that receiver's got to be looking immediately. It requires good coordination between the two, though.
3rd and 4, Eskimos from their 16. Ray McAreedy to punt. 1:58 left in the 3rd quarter. Good high kick by McAreedy. Caught by Lee Hull at the 50 of Edmonton. Finds some room to the 45, and down there, excellent field position for the Blue Bombers as Bass and Hatziano do a little jousting, and it appears a little talking, although Danny Bass does not do much talking. He lets his playing do that. Again, a comparison that staggering in that Tracy Ham has had such a poor night. 6 out of 15, 57 yards. One of his passes intercepted. Tom Burgess, good solid outing. And wouldn't he and the Bombers love to take this one in for a score? They start at the Edmonton 44. Burgess completes it to Tuttle. Tries to stay in bounds and does for an extra yard. Gets down close to the 30, and that'll be a 14-yard gain.
This kind of thing that Tom Burgess needs to do, because I guess if his confidence has suffered in any one area, it's throwing that type of a pass, which really requires a lot of arm strength. He gets the ball there, he throws it on time, good catch, staying in bounds. It's the kind of thing he needs to do to, again, bring up his confidence level, and that he can use the whole field, just not the middle of it.
From the Edmonton 31, Burgess with a 1st and 10. Sprints to the right, has Nick Benjamin in front of him. And finally throws a man wide open at the 15, down to the 10 as Rick House puts his head down and is into the Edmonton 4-yard line.
Really, Burgess's ability to buy some time rolling out here And again, he's got a pretty big personal protector. And what this does is enables Rick House really to work to an area in that zone where there's nobody. He'll just settle down now. We're in the sidelines when he kind of fights the ball a little bit. And he's never been afraid to put his head down and pick up what extra yardage he can. He's always been aggressive that way as a receiver.
27-yard gain. House has a touchdown tonight, his 8th of the year, and the Bombers are first and goal at the Edmonton 4-yard line. 15 seconds left in the third quarter. Burgess wants to throw, throws it into the end zone, and he has a touchdown. Matt Pierce on the receiving end of the throw from Burgess.
Well, they give this set in the backfield where it looks like they've got 4 guys back there. Now Burgess, they're never going to see this touchdown, but they run Pierce up in through the line. He kind of just sneaks through there and gets downfield and beats his cover man.
Matt Pierce with the touchdown for Winnipeg, his first of the season. Trevor Kennard will attempt to convert, and he will make it with 8 seconds remaining in the third quarter, and the Bombers now in front 34-17.
Well, we talked about how Tracy Ham was able to stand in the pocket and take the abuse that comes with trying to release the ball and make something good happen. And he took a heck of a shot underneath the chin there, but hung in there. And, once again, he'll see. The only way he's going to see that is on the videotape replay tomorrow.
Second touchdown pass of the night for Tom Burgess. He's now thrown 17 touchdowns this season, enjoying excellent night. No interceptions this evening for Burgess. So the Blue Bombers, who had a 17-0 lead in the first quarter and saw that shrink to 20-17, are 17 in front at 34-17. Here's a reverse on the kickoff return, but the Bombers are waiting for Henry Williams, and he's forced out of bounds at the 29-yard line of the Eskimos.
You know, teams are going to kick away from Henry Williams. One way to get him the ball, obviously, in a situation like that, is on the reverse. You run it into short field, though, you run out of room real quick.
Pushed out of bounds by Darryl Sampson of the Bombers.
Well, Craig Ellis has been inconspicuous by the fact that he hasn't caught many passes tonight. 2 for 17 yards, and Rick House 5 for 59. So the Bombers have done a good job on both Tracy Ham and his main man, Craig Ellis. His pass to Keith Wright is complete at the 33. Rod Hill has him there, and Wright's gain is held to 4 yards, and that play ends the third quarter. The quarter begins with the Edmonton Eskimos in a most unusual position, and I don't mean on their 33-yard line. They're 17 points behind here at Commonwealth Stadium. Tracy Ham will throw, and the pass is low, intended for Colbert. And Ham, as the Boo Birds come out at Commonwealth, disappointed in himself because he had Colbert but threw the ball low.
Well, it's definitely very frustrating for Tracy Ham, and you know, I guess the crowd feels like, what have you done for me lately? But he had all the time he really needed. He's pressing right now, and I think that's fairly obvious. It's not a relaxed throwing motion back there. Hard to make muscles respond when you're tight.
As good as he is, we sometimes forget he's in his 4th year. Still very early in his career. McAreedy punts on 3rd down. Lee Hull has it at the 30-yard line to the 40. Hull to the 45, to the 50, to center field. Lee Hull to the Edmonton 50, and then he loses his footing down at the 40, gets up again. Still going is Hull all the way to the Eskimo 16-yard line.
The fans are booing again, Bob, and I think in this particular situation they have a right, because special teams is very elemental, very basic. It's all about hustling, and right now I'm not so sure that the Edmonton Eskimos are hustling, because there's opportunities. I mean, my goodness gracious, the man is down, touch him, make sure he's down, don't just stop. And they're really not playing right now with much enthusiasm.
A real mental error by the Eskimos not to pin Hull because he wasn't touched. He fell on his own and got up alertly and took it downfield to the 16, a 64-yard punt return. And Robert Mims on first down is close to the Edmonton 10 for a gain of about 5. Boy, big punt returns are few and far between for the Blue Bombers, but a very timely one for them in this game by Lee Hull.
Lee Hull doesn't have tremendous speed either. He's got good speed. He's more noted for his leaping ability, I think, but very smart picking his way through the Eskimos that time.
Second down for the Bombers, 6 yards to go from the Edmonton 11. Burgess puts it up for Tuttle, and he can't get to it. There are flags on the play.
Flag on the play.
Forward pass interference. Edmonton number 13. First down.
Mark Mathis is called for interference. And the Bombers have a first down now at the Edmonton 2-yard line.
Those defensive backs down in this area of the field are going usually man-to-man, and they're really told to bump those receivers and try and knock them off stride, knock them out of their pattern. Hit them, but don't hang on to them.
First and goal, Winnipeg at the 2. The toss to the right side, Robert Mims, and he tries to leap into the end zone, but he doesn't get there. Danny Bass and Larry Ruck once again lead the Edmonton tacklers.
I think it was a little bit far away to leap into the end zone. You know, we must remember that when you leave your feet, you really don't have any more forward momentum or any power. From the 1-yard line, sure, that's great, but I think trying it that far is not really going to get the end zone, especially when you got those two guys on you.
How many plays you figure Bass has been in on tonight? 12, 13?
Easily.
Maybe more. What a game he's played. Bombers second and goal at the Edmonton 2. Burgess faking, and he tries to dump it off, but it's no good. And now it's third and goal from the 2. Burgess waves the field goal team off. Actually, Mike Riley was sending out some extra blocking strength, and now Burgess is waving them on the field. We're a minute 48 into the fourth quarter. Winnipeg leading 34-17, and with a chance to really take command of the game if they can punch this one into the end zone. If they can't, it'll really give the Eskimos some life. Here it is, third down, Winnipeg at the Edmonton 2. Burgess to Streeter, touchdown. Eric Streeter against Andre Francis.
You know, a football game in a lot of respects, I guess, Bob, is like a war that, you know, I think the final score of the game tells you who won the war, but it's made up of so many little battles. And we watch these guys tonight. They've been going at each other pretty good. This time, you see Eric Streeter wins. He just runs down into the end zone, turns around, and shields Andre Francis away from the ball with his body.
Pretty confident throw by Tom Burgess. He just took a couple of steps back and rifled it into the end zone. And the convert puts Winnipeg in front 41-17. With the Winnipeg touchdown. And it came at the 2-minute 4-second mark of the fourth quarter, putting the Bombers in front 41-17. The 8th touchdown of the year for Eric Streeter, and Trevor Kenner kicks off to Colbert at the 28-yard line. And he's up close to the Eskimo 50. Good night for Tom Burgess. 3 touchdown passes.
17 yards.
Well, it is, and the second game really in a row that he's going to go from start to finish. And you can really tell the difference just the way he carries himself, that he feels like he's really in the groove. And maybe it's taken him this long to start to feel really comfortable with what they're trying to accomplish offensively. But he's looked terrific tonight.
Has established himself as the #1 man. He's been the starter all year, but McManus has played a lot. Here's a pass down the middle to Craig Ellis. Played at the Winnipeg. No, they say it's no good. There's an official on the far side who says the ball bounced, and they will wipe that out. Ellis not very happy about the ruling.
Well, for the last 5 weeks in a row, Craig Ellis has gone over 100 yards and in yardage every game. And maybe this was bound to happen sooner or later. It was really hard from that angle to tell whether or not he trapped that, but from there it looks to me like he made the catch.
Well, they say it was an incomplete pass.
Second and 10 Eskimos from their own
Second and 10
49.
Eskimos. You know, if there's one team in the CFL you don't write off in this situation, it's Edmonton. 24 points down, 12 minutes to play. A huge mountain. You wouldn't think they'll come back, given the way Winnipeg's defense has played tonight. But you just can't take them for granted as Ham is really cracked by Tyrone Jones.
Tracy Ham carrying the ball.
Ham's just not getting enough time to really see what's going on downfield. He's got too many people after him. And that comes back to what we were saying at the start of the game, I think, Bob, with that offensive line and the backs especially have to know who they're supposed to block. You see an instance right there where when somebody comes free, somebody's not doing their job. And, you know, at this point, maybe the wheels are starting to fall off the wagon a bit.
Well, it's been a tough night for Tracy Ham. And it just got a little tougher as Ray McEready will punt. Third down and long. Not a very good kick by McEready. Lee Hull at the 35 of Winnipeg, and he's back up to the 43-yard line as the Winnipeg Blue Bombers enjoy a big lead, and the Eskimos think about putting another. The two backup quarterbacks for the Eskimos warming up. Tracy Ham is out of this game as far as we can tell, has the jacket on, and won't be back on the field as Winnipeg enjoys a big lead. And they have the football. The Bombers do it their 43-yard line. Handoff to Robert Mims, and he gets a yard to the 44. Braswell and Stu Hill make the stop.
Robert Mims, the ball carrier for the Bombers. Mike Walker making the tackle for the Eskimos.
Oh, you know, it's almost hard to believe that Ham could have a night like this. What a tribute that is to Winnipeg's defense.
From their 44.
That's true, Bob. And the other thing is, it's a learning process. He'll bounce back.
Second and 9, Bombers at their 44-yard line. 11 minutes left in the fourth quarter. A delayed handoff to Mims, and there was a good hole there, except Larry Ruck was able to get a hold of Mims and bring him down. Ruck and Bass have been in on at least 50% of all Edmonton defensive tackles, or so it seems. 6 is Warren Jones. And he's going to come into the game and quarterback the Eskimos out of the University of Hawaii in his second year here in Edmonton. Spent last year on the injured list. Bob Cameron to punt. Third down and 8, Blue Bombers. Cameron's average not great tonight, but he's done a good job of kicking the ball high. Good hang time and a chance for the cover team to get down. Colbert at his 25-yard line. Gizmo Williams shaken up on the last kick return, so he's not out there. And Colbert returns it to the Edmonton 32-yard line.
Pushed out of bounds by Matt Pierce. Flag on the play.
And a flag came down, a 7-yard return of Cameron's 41-yard punt. Illegal block against the Eskimos.
Hey guys, come on down.
Well, Warren Jones doesn't get many chances to play, Nick. This is a great opportunity for him to get some valuable playing time.
Well, Joe Farragelli alternates his backup quarterbacks. In other words, he says one gets to play 3 games and the other guy gets to play 3 games. And I'm sure that both of them would like to be the permanent backup, but he wants to see how both respond to pressure.
Warren Jones has thrown 40 passes this year, completed 24 of them for 306 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Not bad numbers. Keeping in mind that the situations in which he's played have been like this one, where the game is already decided. His first pass is complete, and the fans like that. Gain of 4 yards.
Well, he's definitely going to bring a change of pace because of his size. At 6'2", 200 pounds, he's a lot bigger than Tracy Ham. It's a change of pace.
Dan McManus, the Bombers' number 2 quarterback. Sammy Garza's number 3, but it looks like Burgess will finish up. And he's certainly earned that right. The pass here complete to Keith Wright. Greg Battle tackles him at the 34.
With the pass complete to
But that'll give the Eskimos a first down, and they haven't had a lot of those tonight.
Keith Wright tried to loop back to pick up more yardage down the field and just about gave away that first down.
9th first down of the evening for the Eskimos. 9 minutes, 28 seconds left. Fourth quarter, Winnipeg in front, 41-17. And this one is nearly intercepted by big David Ward. designated import for the Bombers. Linebacker getting a chance to also get into this game.
Pass knocked down by David Ward of the Bombers.
You know, not only are the Eskimos 6-0 here this year, Nick, since 1985, they've won 38 and lost 4 in the regular season at home. So this is indeed an unusual sight. Completes the pass, but the receiver right was out of bounds, and he was hit very, very hard by Rod Hill.
Jeff Brazel's just getting some maintenance on his hands there, and I'm sure they're going to be sore tomorrow. He and Bassenruck, as we've mentioned, have played very hard tonight. He's been in on a lot of tackles, and you know, a few of them behind the line of scrimmage. And that front 7 of the Eskimos really is their strength.
Bob Irving and Nick Vestaya at Commonwealth Stadium in Edmonton. 8:55 left, fourth quarter. We're witnessing an outstanding performance by the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, who lead the Edmonton Eskimos 41-17. Eskimos third down and punting. McAready doesn't catch this one very well. It'll bounce to Streeter at the 35, and he's stopped at the Winnipeg 37-yard line. 8:36 the time left now, as the Bombers are on their way. A happy Winnipeg Blue Bomber bench, as they are 24 points ahead of the Edmonton Eskimos with 8.5 minutes left at Commonwealth. Tom Burgess, the Winnipeg quarterback, has had a big night. 24 completions out of 37 throws, 242 yards, and 3 touchdowns. We'll make that 24 out of 38 now, as that pass goes incomplete. Dave Hodge and Neil Lumsden are standing by in Toronto to bring you the Ticats and the Argos tomorrow night on the Canadian Football Network. Mike Kerrigan and Ricky Foggy will be the starting quarterbacks. The Argos have won 4 in a row, and they've averaged 56.5 points in those 4 games. David Beckman makes his head coaching debut, replacing Al Bruno with the Ticats, who have Daryl Corbin back on their defense, and that can't hurt. So be with us tomorrow night, 7:30 Eastern Time, Hamilton and Toronto. Burgess on second down, hands off inside, and the gain is restricted to maybe a yard, as the Edmonton defense stops the Bombers quickly again and gets the ball back for their offense.
I think with the Blue Bombers, that up to this point, they feel vindicated, because I think a lot of people thought their record up to this point in the season was done with smoke and mirrors. It's the second time this year that they've beaten the Eskimos, and the Eskimos are a good football team. So I think there's some vindication on their parts tonight.
Well, Winnipeg will be 9-4, and Edmonton will be 9-4 after tonight. And then you look at the 2 games between the 2 clubs, I guess, if you want to determine which one has the edge, and that would be Winnipeg. Bob Cameron punting another very high kick. Colbert's going to let it bounce. It hit one of the Bombers in the helmet. It hit Scott Rettle in the helmet. Flags come down. Keith Wright has it and goes out of bounds at the Edmonton 37-yard line.
Keith Wright returning that punt, a couple of yards.
39-yard punt by Bob Cameron that hit a Winnipeg teammate on the helmet.
Well, Scott Rettle didn't look up to see where the ball is, because bad things happen when you look in the sky for the football and you're running down the field. Somebody's liable to come out of the sun and clock you one. So
No yards. Winnipeg number 69. First down.
So it's best really just to keep looking straight ahead and watch where those blockers are coming from.
Scott Rettle a little playing time at center tonight when Lyle Bauer went out in the second quarter, but Bauer came back to play in the second half. Warren Jones stays on at quarterback for the Eskimos and drops back to pass and throws complete to Craig Ellis at the 48-yard line of the Blue Bombers. After tonight's game, we will select Swalby. Well, you know, these guys are loving this, as all teams in the CFL would, to come into Commonwealth Stadium and do this to the Eskimos. Winnipeg leading 41-17, 6.5 minutes to go. Eskimos second in a yard at the Winnipeg 47. The fake and the pass, no good. Diving attempt as Warren Jones threw on second and short.
Warren Jones with the pass attempt from Leroy Blue.
Well, there's going to be a change of pace for the Blue Bombers also. Looks like a Danny McManus warming up. And And he really does things quite a bit different, I think, from Tom Burgess in the sense that he has a very strong arm. He has the ability to use every corner of the field with that arm.
3rd and 1, Eskimos.
3rd down and 1 for the Eskimos. A little bit more than 1, actually, at the Winnipeg 47-yard line. Jones hands off to Marshall, and he gets around the corner. Haley giving chase on Marshall and drives him out of bounds. Greg Battle, not Haley, at the Winnipeg 20-yard line, but Marshall has really been a shining light for Edmonton this evening.
He has played well, Bob. The Blue Bombers do an effective job here of essentially plugging up where he wants to go. So he just keeps working with this play, shows good patience, finds the opening on the outside, takes it around and gets a good gain. And really, Battle, more or less just piggybacking at that point.
Eskimos from the Winnipeg 20. 1st and 10. Marshall getting a rest. Jones into the end zone. And it actually hit the upright, I think. And it's an incomplete pass. Warren Jones looked like he had a man open. Hit the upright. He could stand there all day and not hit the upright, Nick.
If you tried, sure. I think he shows a tremendously strong arm here. And if it hadn't hit that, they probably would have had a touchdown there. And you see at the end of this play, it looks like that those Bombers are really coming with that rush. And Greg Battle ending up on his leg, and it's going to be sore tomorrow.
So it'll be 2nd and 10. Eskimos at the Bomber 21. 5.5 minutes left, 4th quarter. Jones sprinting right and throwing a man wide open at the 9. Keith Wright steps out of bounds at the Winnipeg 8-yard line. 1st down, Eskimos.
See assistant coach Bob Padilla there. He hates to give anything up, and you see him. He's pretty excited, saying, "What's going on out there? Let's not give him up. Let's not give one up now."
Somebody missed an assignment, it seemed, as Wright was all alone. So the Eskimos are 1st and goal at the Winnipeg 8-yard line. The clock is running, and it's down to 5 minutes, 10 seconds remaining. As Warren Jones tries to finish off this drive. Drops back to pass and throws it quickly into the end zone for a touchdown to Craig Ellis.
Warren Jones, I think, really put together a nice drive here. And regardless, you're never going to shut Craig Ellis out, even though he may not have as productive a night as he normally does. And that's darn near impossible to defend against. I think all that Daryl Sampson could do in that case is attack Craig Ellis on the line, almost have to tackle him, knock him down, because you give him that inside like that, that's where he makes his living.
2nd touchdown of the night, the 16th of the season for Craig Ellis. And the Eskimos will go for the 2-point convert. Warren Jones throws and has it to Michael Soles. So with 5 minutes to go, the Eskimos have reduced the Winnipeg lead to 41 to 25. It's a 16-point advantage. And hey, folks, 2 touchdowns followed by 2-point converts, and we have a time.
Moves around in the pocket enough to get him better vision to pass lines. In other words, he doesn't run around like Tracy Ham does back there to buy time. He just moves enough to give him good sight line. And you see him looking right at the receiver that he's going to throw the ball to. He's just putting himself in a better position to get that ball to Michael Soles.
Well, Ellis is now just 2 touchdowns away from tying the CFL single-season record for touchdown receptions, shared by David Williams and Ryan Kelly. That total is 18. Ellis has 16 on the year with 2 tonight. Eskimos are lining up for what appears will be an onside kick. Macariti puts it high in the air, and Matt Pierce is able to dive in there and get it for the Blue Bombers at the Edmonton 48-yard line. Well, Nick Vestaya, you outlined some keys at the start of the game for Winnipeg to win, and they've come through, haven't they?
Those 3rd down conversions that the Bombers did, I think that, again, helped to sustain those drives. Key thing for them. They weren't stopped maybe once, maybe twice, but they did that. The offensive line did an excellent job, and Burgess had lots of time to pick and choose his receivers. And the Gizmo, though he did have that one return, which looked pretty scary, for the most part, they kept him in check.
He scared Mike Riley more than once tonight, but didn't do the Bombers much damage, although he ran one back 39 yards. Gizmo shaken up again.
Pierce does the right thing when you...
And they went on from there. They had a 17-0 lead. Edmonton got close a couple of times, but that really was a great way for them to start the game.
Well, they never did allow Ellis and Ham to get into sync, did they? They kept them off balance most of the night, created some problems for that offensive line with their blitzing and stunting up front.
Winnipeg offense back on the field, and Burgess stays in the game and throws on first down, intending it for Robert Mims.
Tom Burgess with the
But it's a little bit overthrown.
Incomplete.
Craig Ellis with 16 touchdowns on the year. The CFL record for touchdowns in a season overall. Pat Abruzzi with Montreal scored 20 touchdowns back in 1956.
Is that in 14 games, Bob?
And they didn't play as many games then as they do now. In 56, they played 14 games. The Montreal team that year was 10-4, and Abruzzi scored 20 touchdowns. This is the 13th game of the year for Craig Ellis. Burgess lofts it up there for Tuttle on second down, and he has it at the Edmonton 25 down to the 20 and to the 17-yard line. Mathis makes the stop.
We've seen this done before with other teams, and every team has it in their arsenal. Essentially, what the quarterback is telling the receiver, go, I'll read you. If you've got him beat deep, it'll be out in front. If he's running stride for stride, I'll underthrow the ball. You know it's going to be underthrown. Just turn back and come back for it.
First and 10 Bombers on the Eskimo 18.
3:45 to go, a 30-yard gain. Burgess to Perry Tuttle. Bombers at the Edmonton 18-yard line. Burgess again drops back, throws all alone in the end zone. Touchdown, Tuttle. And Joe Ferragelli can't believe it. That Tuttle was so wide open, there wasn't an Eskimo within 15 yards of him.
Well, look at the Eskimo defenders. There's 4 or 5 of them standing on the field there with their hands on their hips, kind of looking at each other and going, what happened? Who was supposed to have that guy? They blew an assignment, and again, they're a pretty good defensive unit, and that's not something that they normally do. But once again, they just, Perry's so wide open, and shows good body control. He's squaring up his shoulders to catch that football and coming down with it, but he's not going to get one much easier than that.
Kennard adds the convert, and the Bombers now have 48 points. 48-25, Winnipeg leading Edmonton. Take a look at things, a night that he will want to put out of his mind as quickly as he can. Tom Burgess won't want to. He'll want to remember this one just for a little while. That was his 4th touchdown pass. And he's thrown them to 4 different receivers.
What we do at home?
House, Tuttle, Streeter, and Matt Pierce. He's really moved the ball around. That's been the way he's played the game too, Nick. He's moved the ball around all the receivers.
Yeah, he's run their coach's game plan, essentially to perfection.
Kennard's kickoff. Colbert at the 25-yard line. And he's up to the 44 of Edmonton. 3 minutes, 31 seconds left in the 4th quarter. Gizmo Williams heading for the dressing room. The who has the ankle or foot problem. Warren Jones at quarterback, and he slips it over the middle of Michael Soles, who loses his footing and then is pinned at the 51-yard line by Tyrone Jones.
I think the Eskimos can run probably a lot of that kind of stuff only because the Bomber defenders are backing off right now, letting them have that short stuff.
3 minutes left in the 4th quarter, and Winnipeg on their way to victory, leading 48-20. 2 minutes, 55 seconds left at Commonwealth. The Edmonton Eskimos 2nd down and 4. And this is Marshall carrying again, or Michael Soles in for Marshall, and he's to the Bomber 46-yard line for a first down. The story of tonight's game, Tracy Ham held to 61 passing yards. Tom Burgess, his counterpart in the Bombers, 4 touchdown passes. Edmonton 4 turnovers. And Winnipeg has outscored the Eskimos 28-8 in the second half. Jones throws, and the pass is incomplete, intended for Brian Walling. That turnover story, Nick, the Bombers are now plus 26 on the takeaway giveaway ratio. They have forced 26 more turnovers than they have committed themselves. And of course, that's one of the reasons why they'll be 9-4 in a few minutes.
That's right. Mike Riley likes a pressure defense, and he feels he gets the best look from a 3-4 defense. They can change a lot of the things that they do. They're not predictable.
2nd and 10. Eskimos there at the Winnipeg 45-yard line. Jones sprints out right, throws out of the 31-yard line, and they roll. The catch was made. That's Jordan Gardner in the game. He's a rookie from the University of Saskatchewan. Getting some playing time with the game already decided. Really made an impression in training camp, Jordan Gardner.
Eskimos.
5th-round draft pick. Made them stand up and take notice. He's been on the team and on the roster all season. Jones back to pass, and he throws complete to Gardner, who was taken out of bounds at the Bomber 14-yard line by Darrell Sampson.
The thing that Joe Farragelli likes about Jordan Gardner is the fact that he's one of those players, if he makes a mistake, and all rookies make mistakes, you show him what he did wrong, you show him how to correct it, and he won't make that same mistake again. He's got natural talent, natural ability. And Joe Farragelli actually said, this kid astounded me in training camp. I didn't believe he was that good.
Eskimos now with a chance to score some more points at the Winnipeg 14-yard line. 1st and 10. Warren Jones sprints out to the left. Pressure comes, and he can't get away from Tyrone Jones. Dropped back at the 22-yard line. Tyrone Jones has had a strong game for Winnipeg, and he forced a fumble that Albert Williams returned 70 yards for a touchdown midway through the 3rd quarter, and that was a very big point in the game. And the sack total, 4 by the Bombers, none for the Eskimos, who were the league leaders coming into this game. But the Bombers had allowed the fewest, and they've kept their record solid tonight. And there's another sack, and David Ward got through to make that one.
David Ward getting a bit of a chance to play, and the idea is when you win, don't get too excited unless it's a Grey Cup. When you lose, don't get too despondent. Try and keep an even keel. Keep it in perspective.
3rd down and many yards to go for the Eskimos at the Bomber 36-yard line. They have 20, make that 32 yards to go, and they are going to go for it with nothing to lose. The Bombers looked like they were offside, so the Eskimos won't have quite so far to go for the 1st down.
Offside, Winnipeg number 99, still 3rd down.
Jeff Cronin's in the game playing a little nose tackle, and he was offside. So it'll be 3rd down and 26 yards to go. Eskimos at the Bomber 30. And Warren Jones will crank up and throw it downfield, and it's intercepted by Dave Bovell. He's to the 20 and out of bounds at the Winnipeg 24-25-yard line. Bovell got his 1st interception of the year last week, and he now has 2.
The Bomber defensive backs are playing very deep that time, and probably the deepest of them all was Bovell, who just sat back in there. He's going to read the quarterback's eyes or where his head is swiveled, which direction he's looking. And it's more or less just like being a center fielder in baseball. When you see that ball coming, you've got lots of time because of the length of the throw to react to the football.
7th turnover of the game, the 5th by the Eskimos. The Bombers have only turned it over twice. Danny McManus comes on now to play quarterback for the last minute 48. And he'll toss to the right side to Robert Mims. And he gets out near the 30 for a gain of close to 7. Mims has not been very successful rushing the ball tonight, but it has not hampered Winnipeg's offensive attack.
Danny McManus, the thing that impresses me about Danny McManus when I look at him physically, he's kind of built like a fire plug. Couldn't believe the forearms on this guy. Looks like Popeye. And I think that's where he gets a lot of that arm strength from. He does have a strong arm.
Listed at 6 feet tall. He's certainly no more than that. 2nd down, Blue Bombers, and a couple of yards to go. Mims has carried 12 times for 26 yards. He has it again and adds 3 to his total. And gives Winnipeg a 1st down with a minute 18 left. Michael Gray hurt just a couple of minutes ago, but looked to be okay as he walked off the field under his own power.
Brett Williams on the tackle for the Eskimos. 1st and
Bombers haven't had many offensive outbursts like this season. As a matter of fact, this is the most points they've scored in a game this year. One of the lowest scoring teams in the league coming into tonight, but they have not looked that part at all. From their 33, the toss goes to Matt Pierce around the left side. Across the 35 and out near the 40. Pierce will have a 7-yard gain. 53 seconds to go now, as the Bombers put the finishing touches on a very, very impressive victory.
Well, a large part of that credit, I think, would have to go to their offensive line. Now, that group, again, has given up only 21 sacks on the year. That's the lowest. And they also say we consider ourselves the best offensive line because we also have the leading rusher in the league.
Second down, Blue Bombers, and about 3 yards to go from their 41-yard line. Hand off Matt Pierce, and he works his way through the middle out to a first down up near the 45 of Winnipeg. Well, when this game ends in 30 seconds, this is the way the standings will appear. Winnipeg 9-4, 4 ahead of Toronto, with back-to-back games against the Argos coming up next week and the week after, both on the Canadian Football Network. Ottawa and Hamilton tied for third, and the Eskimos still comfortably in front of the West, but they've given Calgary and Saskatchewan at least a little hope that maybe they can run them down. Matt Pierce carries on the right side, and he's up to the 48-yard line.
What's up, Mom, Dad? St. Mary's, how everything going? How you doing, Sandra? Joshua? All right. Hope you're going to get it.
At St. Mary's, he talked about is St. Mary's, Georgia. That's where Tyrone Jones' family is from. Well, the time has expired on the clock, and this will be the final play, unless we have some penalties, and I don't know why we would, as the Blue Bombers end Edmonton's 16-game regular season winning streak at Commonwealth Stadium, and they do it with a bang, running out to a 17-0 lead, and they only led by 3, 20-17 at halftime, but they really broke it open in the second half, and Mike Riley's Blue Bombers